You can afford the rent and still get rejected. Here's why. Australia's rental market in 2026 isn't just competitive. It's weaponized against people without local history. The approval rate for new migrants applying to rentals in Sydney and Melbourne sits at 11%. That's not a typo. 11%. 1 in 9 applications succeeds. The rest get filtered out before a human even reads them. I'm going to walk you through the exact system landlords and real estate agents use to approve tenants, the documents that actually matter, the red flags that ought to reject you, and the 3 strategies migrants are using right now to break through. This isn't about finding cheaper rent. It's about getting approved in the first place. But wait. Before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment "I subscribe" below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. Let's start with why most applications die in the first 48 hours. Chapter 1. The filtering system. Why applications get rejected before anyone reads them. When you submit a rental application in Australia, it enters a queue. In high-demand areas, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, that queue is 40 to 80 applications for a single property. Real estate agents don't read all of them. They can't. So they filter. Here's the 3-layer filter system. Layer 1. Income to rent ratio. Your household income must be at least 3 times the weekly rent. That's the baseline. If the rent is $600 per week, you need to show $1,800 per week in household income. If you earn $1,750, you're out. No discussion. This filter is automated in most agencies now. They use software that scans your payslips, calculates the ratio, and rejects anything under 3x. But here's the problem for migrants. Australian payslips only. If you're arriving with a job offer but haven't started yet, that income doesn't count. If you're self-employed overseas, that doesn't count. If you have savings, that doesn't count at Layer 1. You need active, Australian source, verified income on paper. Layer 2. Rental history. This is where most migrants die. The system assumes you've rented before, in Australia. If you haven't, you're categorized as high risk even if you own a home overseas. Ownership doesn't translate. The agent wants to see that an Australian landlord trusted you, you paid on time, and you left the property clean. Without that, you're competing against locals who have 5 years of clean rental history. Some agencies will accept international rental references, but only if they are in English, include contact details for the landlord, and can be verified by phone. A lease agreement from your home country isn't enough. They need a reference letter, signed, with a working phone number. Layer 3. Credit and identity. Australia uses Equifax, Experian, and Elion for credit checks. If you're new to the country, you won't have a credit file yet. That's not an automatic rejection, but it's a yellow flag. Agents assume no credit history means no financial accountability. They'll ask for additional documents, bank statements, proof of savings, upfront rent. Identity verification is the other half. You need an Australian driver's license, Medicare card, or passport with a valid visa. If your visa status is temporary, student visa, working holiday visa, bridging visa, you're automatically downgraded. Agents prefer permanent residents and citizens because they can't leave the country without consequences. Here's what this means in practice. A migrant couple from India applies for a 2-bedroom apartment in Parramatta. Rent is $650 per week. The husband has a job offer starting in 3 weeks. Salary $85,000 per year. The wife is still looking for work. Their combined income will eventually hit the 3x ratio, but right now, they have no active Australian income. They have $40,000 in savings. They attach bank statements, the job offer letter, and a rental reference from Mumbai. The application gets auto-rejected in 36 hours. Why? No current income. The job offer doesn't count until he's on payroll. The savings don't count because the system filters by income, not assets. The Mumbai reference can't be verified because the agent tried calling at 9 a.m. Sydney time, which is 3:30 a.m. in India, and no one answered. This is the standard outcome. Now let's talk about how to bypass it. Chapter 2. Document Strategy. The 9 documents that actually matter. Most migrants over-apply. They attach everything, passport, birth certificate, marriage license, university degrees, reference letters from employers, character references from friends. Agents ignore 80% of it. They are looking for 9 specific items, and if those 9 items are perfect, nothing else matters. Here's the exact list. 1. Photo ID, passport plus visa grant notice. Your passport photo page and your visa grant notice from the Department of Home Affairs. Print it. Don't send a screenshot. If your visa has work rights, highlight that section. If it's a permanent visa, highlight the grant date. Agents need to see you're legally allowed to be here and legally allowed to work. 2. Proof of income, last 3 payslips or employment contract. If you're already working in Australia, attach your last 3 consecutive payslips. They must show your name, employer name, pay period, gross income, and net income. If the payslips are from different employers, that's a red flag. It suggests instability. If you haven't started work yet, attach your signed employment contract with the start date, salary, and job title clearly visible. Some agents will accept an employment verification letter from HR on company letterhead. 3. Bank statements. Last 3 months, Australian account. This proves you have money to cover bond, rent in advance, and moving costs. The account must be Australian. International accounts don't count because agents can't verify the currency conversion or account legitimacy. Your statements need to show regular deposits, stable balance, and no overdrafts. If your balance is under $10,000, you're weak. If it's over $20,000, you're strong. 4. Rental history. Last 2 rentals, reference letters. If you've rented in Australia before, get reference letters from your last 2 landlords. The letter must include your full name, the property address, the dates you lived there, confirmation you paid rent on time, confirmation the property was left in good condition, and the landlord's signature and contact number. If you've never rented in Australia, get an international reference letter translated into English with the same details. If you own property overseas, attach proof of ownership and a letter explaining you're transitioning from ownership to renting due to migration. 5. Employment reference, current or previous employer. A letter from your employer confirming your position, salary, and employment stability. If you're new to Australia, use your overseas employer. The letter must be on company letterhead, signed, and include a direct contact number. Agents sometimes call to verify. 6. Proof of savings, term deposit or savings account statement. If your income doesn't hit the 3x ratio, savings can supplement. You need to show at least 12 months of rent saved in a term deposit or high-interest savings account. For a $600 per week rental, that's $31,200. If you have that, attach a bank letter confirming the balance and account type. 7. Guarantor letter, if applicable. If you don't meet the income requirement, you can use a guarantor, someone who agrees to pay your rent if you can't. The guarantor must be an Australian citizen or permanent resident, must earn at least 5 times the weekly rent, and must sign a statutory declaration. This is common for students and new migrants. If you have a family member or friend who qualifies, this is your strongest backup. 8. Character reference, professional, not personal. 1 letter from a professional referee, former employer, colleague, accountant, lawyer. Not a friend, not a family member. The letter should describe your reliability, financial responsibility, and character. Keep it under 200 words. Agents skim it. 9. Cover letter, 1 page, key points only. This is your opportunity to address gaps. If you're new to Australia, explain why. If you have no rental history, explain why. If your income is borderline, explain your financial plan. Keep it factual. No emotion. No begging. Format, 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1. Who you are and why you're moving. Paragraph 2. Your financial situation and employment. Paragraph 3. Why you a reliable tenant. Now here's the critical part. Document order matters. When you submit your application, attach documents in this sequence. Cover letter first, photo ID second, proof of income third, bank statements fourth, rental history fifth. The agent reads top to bottom. If the first 3 documents are weak, they stop reading. If the first 3 are strong, they'll read the rest. One more thing. File names matter. Don't name your files document1.pdf or skin_20260130.pdf. Name them clearly. John_Smith_passport.pdf. John_Smith_payslips_Jan 2026.pdf. John_Smith_bank_statement.pdf. Agents process 50+ applications. If they can't find a documents instantly, they move on. Chapter 3. Inspection Strategy. How to win the inspection before you apply. Most migrants think the inspection is just a viewing. It's not. It's an audition. The agent is watching you. They are evaluating whether you are someone the landlord will trust with their $700,000 asset. Here's how they assess you in the first 90 seconds. Arrival time. Show up 5 minutes early. Not 15 minutes early. That's annoying. Not on time. That's average. 5 minutes early. It shows you respect the agent's schedule and you'll respect the landlord's property. If you're late, you've already lost. Agents assume if you're late to an inspection, you'll be late with rent. How you dress. Wear business casual. Clean jeans. Collared shirt. Closed-toe shoes. No gym clothes. No slides. No ripped jeans. You don't need a suit, but you need to look like someone who has their life together. The agent is subconsciously asking, would I trust this person with my property? If you look chaotic, the answer is no. What you say. When you walk in, introduce yourself immediately. Hi, I'm John. I'm interested in applying. Not hey or how's it going. Use the agent's name if you know it. Ask 2 or 3 specific questions about the property. Is the lease 6 or 12 months? Are pets allowed? When is the property available? Don't ask generic questions like, is it a good area? That signals you haven't researched. Don't complain about anything. Not the size. Not the carpet. Not the kitchen. Complaints equals rejection. What you touch. Don't open cupboards without asking. Don't turn on taps. Don't lie on the bed. Don't let your kids run around unsupervised. The agent is watching how you treat the space during the inspection because that's how they assume you'll treat it as a tenant. One couple lost an application because their toddler drew on the wall with a crayon during the viewing. The agent reported it to the landlord, and the application was rejected before they even submitted it. What you bring. Bring a printed copy of your rental resume, a 1-page summary with your photo, contact details, employment info, and rental history. Hand it to the agent at the end of the inspection. Most people don't do this. It makes you memorable. The agent sees 40 people that day. If you give them something physical with your face on it, they'll remember you when they're sorting applications. The follow-up. Send an email within 2 hours of the inspection. Subject line, application for property address. Body, hi, agent name. Thank you for showing me the property today. I'm very interested in applying and will submit my application tonight. Please let me know if you need any additional information. That's it. Don't write a paragraph about how much you love the place. Don't beg. Just confirm your interest and intent to apply. This email does 2 things. It shows you organized, and it puts your name in the agent's inbox again before they start reviewing applications. Here's why this matters. A software engineer from the Philippines viewed a unit in Melbourne. He arrived exactly on time, dressed in a hoodie and joggers, asked no questions, and left without speaking to the agent. He submitted a strong application, good income, solid documents, but got rejected. Why? The agent wrote in the notes. Applicant seemed disengaged. Didn't ask about the property. Not confident is serious. A week later, he viewed a different property. This time, he arrived 5 minutes early, wore a button-up shirt, introduced himself, asked about lease terms and internet connection, handed the agent a rental resume, and emailed a follow-up 90 minutes later. He got approved within 24 hours, despite the second property being more competitive. The inspection isn't about the property. It's about proving you're a responsible adult who won't cause problems. Chapter 4. Application Timing. When to apply and how to avoid the queue. Timing controls your approval odds more than anything else. Most migrants apply on weekends after group inspections. That's the worst time. You're competing against 60+ people who all attended the same open house, all submitted applications within 12 hours, and all look identical on paper. Here's the smarter approach. Apply during private inspections. Most agencies offer private inspections on weekday mornings or early afternoons. These are scheduled individually, usually for people who can't attend the group inspection. Request 1. You'll be the only person viewing the property that hour, which means you get the agent's full attention. You can ask detailed questions. You can build rapport. And when you submit your application that same day, you're competing against maybe 5 other people, not 60. The conversion rate for private inspections is 4x higher than group inspections. Why? Because the agent remembers you. They spoke to you for 15 minutes instead of 90 seconds. They saw you as a person, not a face in a crowd. Apply within 4 hours of viewing. Most people apply 24 to 48 hours after the inspection. By then, the agent has already started reviewing earlier applications. If you apply within 4 hours, you're in the first batch. Agents process applications in waves. First wave, same-day submissions. Second wave, next-day submissions. Third wave, late submissions. If you're in the first wave, your application gets read while the agent still remembers you. One migrant tested this. She applied to 2 identical apartments in the same building, listed by the same agency. For the first one, she applied 6 hours after the inspection. For the second, she applied 36 hours later. Same documents, same income, same everything. She got approved for the first, rejected for the second. The agent told her, "Your application for first unit was strong and early, so we prioritized it. By the time we reviewed your second application, we'd already approved someone else." Avoid applying on Sundays. Sunday is the highest volume application day in Australia. Everyone views properties on Saturday, goes home, prepares documents, and submits Sunday morning. If you apply on Sunday, you're in the middle of the flood. Apply Saturday night instead. Agents check emails Saturday evening to get ahead of the Sunday rush. If your application is sitting in their inbox at 7 p.m. Saturday, you're first in line. Use the 48-hour rule. If a property has been listed for more than 48 hours and hasn't been rented yet, your odds jump significantly. It means the first wave of applications didn't meet the landlord's standards, and the agent is now more flexible. Properties listed for 5 to 7 days are even better. Agents get desperate to fill them. Don't assume it's a bad property just because it hasn't rented. Sometimes the first applicants were unqualified. Sometimes the landlord rejected offers because they were too low. Either way, you benefit. Apply to multiple properties simultaneously. This is controversial, but it's reality. In a competitive market, you can't apply to one property, wait for the outcome, then apply to the next. You'll never get housed. Apply to 3 to 5 properties in the same week. Yes, you might get approved for multiple. That's fine. You can withdraw from the ones you don't want. Agents understand this. It's standard practice in Sydney and Melbourne now. But, critical point, only apply to properties you genuinely want. Don't apply to 20 places as a backup strategy. That bones your credibility. Agents talk to each other. If they see you applying everywhere indiscriminately, they'll assume you're desperate, and desperation reads as financial instability. Chapter 5, Negotiation Points. What you can offer to beat competing applications. When 40 people apply for the same property, price isn't the only lever. Most landlords want certainty, not maximum rent. If you can offer something that reduces their risk or effort, you win. Offer to pay rent in advance. This is the nuclear option. Offer to pay 3 to 6 months of rent upfront. It removes the landlord's biggest fear, non-payment. If the rent is $600 per week, that's $7,800 for 3 months or $15,600 for 6 months. Most landlords will accept a lower-income applicant if they are holding 6 months of rent in advance. But only do this if you have the cash reserves. Don't drain your savings to pay rent upfront, then have no emergency fund. You need at least 3 months of living expenses left over after paying the advance rent. If an emergency hits, you can't ask for the prepaid rent back. Offer a longer lease. Most leases in Australia are 6 to 12 months. If you offer to sign an 18-month or 24-month lease, you're giving the landlord stability. They don't have to relist the property, re-inspect it, or deal with turnover. Long-term tenants are gold. This works especially well if the property has been vacant for a while. The landlord is losing money every week it's empty. If you offer a 2-year lease, you're solving their problem. Offer to handle minor maintenance. This is less common but effective. Offer to handle minor repairs yourself. Replacing light bulbs, fixing leaky taps, maintaining the garden. Make it clear you're not asking for rent reduction. You're just offering to reduce the landlord's management burden. Some landlords love this because it means fewer calls to the agent, fewer contractors, and a tenant who actually cares about the property. Put this in your cover letter. I'm happy to handle minor maintenance and garden upkeep to ensure the property remains in excellent condition. Provide a larger bond. Standard bond in Australia is 4 weeks rent. Offer 6 or 8 weeks. It signals financial stability and give the landlord extra security. This is particularly useful if your income is borderline or you have no rental history. The extra bond compensates for the perceived risk. Get a guarantor. If you have family or friends in Australia who are financially stable, ask them to act as guarantor. A guarantor is someone who legally agrees to pay your rent if you default. This is standard for students and new migrants. The guarantor must sign a statutory declaration and provide proof of income, usually 5x the weekly rent. If you have a guarantor, you bypass the income and rental history filters completely. The landlord's risk is transferred to the guarantor, so your personal situation matters less. One final strategy, write a tenant bio. This is a short paragraph about who you are, what you do, and why you're a reliable tenant. It goes at the top of your cover letter. Example, I'm a registered nurse at Royal Melbourne Hospital, recently relocated from Singapore. I'm looking for a stable, long-term rental as I've accepted a permanent position. I'm quiet, non-smoking, and have a strong track record of maintaining properties to a high standard. I'm financially stable and can provide references from previous landlords in Singapore. This humanizes your application. Agents and landlords are more likely to approve someone they can visualize as a real person, not just an application number. Here's what you need to walk away with. The Australian rental market in 2026 is a filtering system. If you don't understand the filters, you get rejected automatically. But if you structure your application correctly, strong documents, strategic timing, professional inspection behavior, you bypass most of the competition. The 3 non-negotiables. 1. Household income at least 3x the weekly rent, documented with Australian payslips or signed employment contract. 2. Rental history or guarantor. If you can't show Australian rental history, you need someone to vouch for you financially. 3. Apply fast, apply professionally, and apply to multiple properties simultaneously. The migrants who succeed in this market aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who understand the system and engineer their applications to pass every filter. Here's my question for you. If you had to choose between paying 6 months of rent upfront or finding a guarantor, which would you pick and why?